Vasudevendra Yogendram Natva Jnana Pradam Gurum Mumukshunam Hitarthaya Tattva Bodho Bhidhiyate. So we are on the fourth topic of Tattva Bodha, which is the very important topic of Jeev Ishvara Aikyam. And just before this, we have finished Jeev Jagat Aikyam. This Aikyam, this message of Aikyam, non-duality, Advaita, is the message of the Vedas. And this message is declared by the statements which are known as Mahavakya. It is a Mahavakya means it is a great equation. So this message of the Vedas is given by the Mahavakyas. There are many Mahavakyas in our Shastras, in our 4 Vedas, but to show that all the 4 Vedas are giving the same message, 4 Mahavakyas are selected. They are not in any order, just 4 Mahavakyas, one from each Veda. This shows that the entire 4 Vedas of ours are giving just this one message of Advaita. So the 4 Mahavakyas are, one is Prajnanam Brahma. This Mahavakya is from Aitreya Upanishad, which is a part of Rig Veda. Prajnanam means consciousness. My consciousness is Brahman. That is Paramatma, it is God. This is the message of this Mahavakya. The second Mahavakya is Tat Tvam Asi. This is the most popular Mahavakya, which is used by all the texts to reveal the truth. This is the teaching Mahavakya. This is from Chandogya Upanishad, and Chandogya Upanishad is present in Samaveda. The third Mahavakya is Ayam Atma Brahma. Ayam Atma, my Atma is Brahma, is God. This Mahavakya is present in Mandukya Upanishad, which is a part of Atharvana Veda. And the fourth Mahavakya is Aham Brahmasmi. This is Aham Brahmasmi, I am Brahman. This is a statement of realized wisdom. The teachers use the Mahavakya Tattvamasi, and the Shishya realizes it as Aham Brahmasmi. This is present in Brihadaranyaka Upanishad, which is a part of Yajurveda. So all our 4 Vedas are full of Mahavakyas. Any statement which is revealing the Aikyam, which is revealing Advaita, is a Mahavakya. But these 4 have been selected by our masters for understanding the reality. So here in this topic, the teacher is using Tattvamasi. They're wanting us to understand the meaning of this Mahavakya, Tattvamasi. And the person who understands this truth is going to get Jivan Mukti and Videha Mukti. Thus, this person is going to be free from a life of samsara, which involves anxiety, fear, tension, worries, and after that there is Videha Mukti. No getting any more Deha after that. So there's total freedom. This knowledge, people don't find it relevant in their lives. They don't want to get this knowledge. It is so, they are mudhas as per the Shastras, So let them run around this world and chase this world, This is the most relevant knowledge in this world. A person who gets this knowledge cannot want anything else. So in our last class we saw that both Jiva and Ishvara are made up of 3 components, 3 portions. The original consciousness, the reflecting medium, which in the Jiva is the three Shariras, and in case of Ishvara it is three Prapanchas, which is the Brahmanda, and the reflected consciousness in the reflected medium. So the reflecting medium and the reflected consciousness is Mithya, and the original consciousness is Satyam. Both Jiva and Ishvara are original consciousness manifesting in different reflecting mediums. This is the message of the Vedas. Now we have a choice here. Either I identify my reality as the reflecting medium with the reflected consciousness, which is a mortal individual, or I lift my understanding and realize my truth as the infinite Atma. If I can see myself as the original consciousness, then there is no difference between me and Ishvara. This is what are we supposed to do? Just shift our attention. That's all we have to do. It is so simple. It's like I show my hand here. This hand, everyone's attention is going to be at the hand, but there is a light which is illumining the hand, without which this hand cannot be seen. And if I want to concentrate on the light, I just have to shift my attention from the hand to the light. Similarly, from this body-mind-sense complex, I have to shift my attention with this knowledge to the limitless, formless, invisible Atma. Just like a wave in the ocean, if it is an unwise wave, it's going to think that, oh, I'm a small wave, and I was just born and I'm going to bang against the shore and I'm going to die, and it's in competition with the other waves here, and it's envying the ocean. Oh my God, the ocean is so vast and I'm so small. But if the wave is a wise wave, it will know that whether it's all these waves or is the ocean, everything is just water. So I need to know that I am the original consciousness. So the Shastras are saying that if I identify with this mortal individuality, along with this mortality, I am inviting a lot of insecurity. It is this insecurity which is making every human being chase this world. All our struggles in life are because of this insecurity which we feel inside. It is because this is mortal. This makes me insecure, Our education, we didn't get educated to get enlightenment, We got educated because we wanted a good job and we wanted to get a good salary, because that gives me a sense of security. Not only am I insecure about my own self, I'm insecure about all the members of my family, I'm insecure about my possessions, about all the things I own here. Everything is making me insecure. All this worries me all the time. Oh my God, this will go wrong, that will go wrong, this will go wrong. And then on top of that, there is this fear of old age, disease and death hanging on our head, This is what is called samsara bhayam. Everybody is in the grip of this bhayam, deep down inside. You just have to tap a little bit and see. Talk to that person for a little while. At first everything is all fine, and slowly the problem comes, because everyone has got this fear. And this fear can never ever go till we identify with this individuality, this mortal jiva, I have to realize my truth as the Atma. This shift has to happen. If I want this bhayam to go, I have to change my perception. I have to see what is my reality. Once I discover that I am not this body, mind, sense complex, I am the Atma, then the problems of the body, the diseases of the body, or even letting the body go after some time is not going to be a problem, because we are disidentified with this body. As long as I'm identified with this body, this problem is not going to solve, and it solves like this by just disidentification. The more I claim my reality to be the Atma, the more this mortality of this body, mind, sense complex is going to be acceptable to me, you know. I will know that I am not this Anatma, so I'll be okay with the arrival and departure of my own body and of the bodies of my near and dear ones, you know. There is not going to be any grief then in letting it go. It has to go, it will go, but I am not this body, is what the Shastras are saying, you know. Bhagavad Gita says, Bhagwan says in Bhagavad Gita, Ashocha nanva shochastvam pragyavadamscha bhashase gata soona agata soomscha nanushocanti panditaha. Panditaha, the wise people, na anushocanti, they don't grieve about gata soon agata soonscha, you know, from the people whom the prana has left, or in those where the prana is still going on. Doesn't matter whether you're here or you're not here, there is no grief about anything, you know, because they know the reality, they know who they are, and they know what is the anatma. Anatma is in the realm of time, its nature is arrival and departure. But if out of ignorance I am emotionally dependent on anatma, then I am going to have whole lot of grief, fear, worry throughout my life. I cannot escape it, you know. So I have to realize my truth, you know. So with wisdom, only with wisdom and knowledge, I will happily accept the arrival of anybody in my life, and I will retain my mental balance with the departure of that person from my life, you know. So the message of the Shastras is loud and clear. Do not depend emotionally on anything mortal, which is anatma. Physical dependence is different from emotional dependence. The problem here is the emotional dependence, you know. That is because of which people are in depression, and I don't know what all is happening, because they are emotionally dependent. Whatever people are holding on to here, relationships, you know, even profession and wealth and possessions and name and fame, why are they doing this? Because they are insecure. This gives them a sense of security. And the message of the Shastras is, please detach from anatma at the earliest. Do not emotionally depend on anatma. Attachment is the problem, not love. Love is for the benefit and well-being of the other person. Attachment is for my security. I am attached to people because I want to hold on to, if I am insecure without that person here, you know. So half the people here don't have love or anything. It is all attachment, you know. And they glorify attachment. That one's very attached to me. As for the scriptures, you are a mudaha if you are attached, you know. Yes, love everybody, take care of everybody. Do not get attached. Emotional dependence is the biggest problem here. So this, you know, the spiritual journey, which is ours, this spiritual journey, we have to disidentify from the jiva and realize our truth as the atma to solve all the problems, you know. Janma after janma, we are getting a chance to pass this spiritual examination here. Whatever effort we put in this direction as per the Shastras will not get wasted at all. Everything else is a waste as per the Shastras. But here, in this path, whatever effort, every class you are attending and that little knowledge is increasing, this, if by chance you do not get moksha in this janma, next janma you are going to pick up the threads right from here. Somewhere in your life, there's going to be a sudden turn towards spirituality, you know. This is because you are getting connected with your past. You made an effort in this Janma, And the other fact which the scriptures say is, if you have studied Vedanta, you have reserved a human birth for yourself in the next Janma. You are not going to be born as a monkey or a donkey or anything. You will be born as a human being, and you will get connected with all the effort you put in this direction. So that is such a relief, whatever I'm doing is not going to go waste here. So every Janma we have to make this effort. We have to try and crack this examination, like people go around cracking so many other exams. I cracked it, I got through that examination, But what about the examination of life? This is the examination we have to actually pass. And whichever Janma we pass, in that Janma, we're going to get moksha, there's Jivan Mukti, and there's Videha Mukti. So it seems there was one student who failed 24 times in his CA examination. It seems CA is pretty tough, and people keep failing in that CA examination. So when he saw his result and came back, he had failed again. He was disappointed, and then we came out, he saw a poster of Jesus there, and it said underneath, Jesus never fails. So he went and wrote underneath it, let him try this CA examination. It's not easy to get through a CA examination, So let alone CA. CA is only one small part in this world, This examination of life I have to pass, and this so valuable human birth, I don't have to fritter it away. Please get the seriousness about this. Most of the people are not serious, They don't realize what they have got. And already, the people who are here are really blessed, They are already on the path. And all this, what you're hearing, will never ever get wasted, So here the Guru is telling us, in fact, he's told us all this so much. He explained right from who's the Adhikari, and then what is the Jiva made up of, what is the Jagat made up of, how is Jiva Jagat Ekya, and what is Jiva Ishvara Ekya. After all this, one of his Shishya raises a question, So he's raising a question, and this is being put in the text, because when this Vedanta is being taught, there will be some student who will raise a question like this, So to clear that, we are going to read it now. Nanu sahankarasya kinchidgasya jivasya nirahankarasya sarvagyasya ishvarasya tattvam asi iti mahavakyat katham abheda buddhihi syat ubhayoho viruddha dharma akrantatvat. So nanu means but. After all this teaching, he goes but, but. Sahankarasya kinchigyasya jivasya. Jiva, this jiva who is sahankarasya, who is identified with his ahankara, is sahankarasya. Kinchigyasya, he has little knowledge. Nirahankarasya sarvagyasya ishvarasya, and Ishvara, who has got no ahankara, he is not identified with any finite ego, Sarvagyasya, who is omniscient. Tattvam asi iti mahavakyat. Now, that mahavakya is trying to show the non-difference between Jiva and Ishvara. So in this Mahavakya, Katham Abheda Buddhi Syat, how Abheda, Bheda is difference and Abheda is non-difference. So Katham Abheda Buddhi Syat, how can it be? How can I have this understanding of Abheda when there's such big difference? Ubhayoho, between the two, Viruddha Dharma Akratantvat. Akrantatvat means endowed with, viruddha dharma, opposite attributes. So how can I accept this fact, what this Mahavakya Tattvamasi is saying, when these two have such viruddha dharmas? He is not able to swallow this, what they are saying. So as we had said earlier, that this knowledge can only be assimilated by an adhikari of this knowledge. We banged our head with the adhikari part in the beginning, The person has to have grown emotionally. He should have some mental maturity. He should have learned some lessons from his experiences in life. Those experiences should have opened his eyes about some reality of this world and life, The person should have vivek, vairagya, samadhi, shad sampatti and mumukshutvam. For that person, this knowledge is easy to grasp. Otherwise, if we bajao this bean in front of a samsari, everything is going to go above the head of the person, and the next class he's going to run away. There is no chance that anybody can sit and listen to unless there is some understanding happening, most of the people, it all goes above their head, So here the student, when he hears this Tattvamasi and Jivan Ishvara Aikyam, he is not able to grasp this, and also the mind is conditioned for janmas after janmas, and this is very difficult to swallow that you equate Jivan Ishvara. This is not easy to swallow. So he is at least being honest. Some people is sitting and nodding their head, but at least this person is being honest, saying that how, but this is it, how. So after all this explaining everything, there is a but there, And just like, once a person was sitting and listening to the story of Ramayana, and the Guru's teaching the Ramayana, and after the entire Ramayana finishes, the student says, Guruji, I have a small doubt. So he says, yeah, what is it? He says, everything is clear. There's just one small doubt. Who is this Ram and who is Sita? So after the entire Ramayana is over, he has not understood who is Ram and who is Sita. So the Guruji is aghast. He's speechless. He can't bang this fellow's head, so he wants to bang his own head against a wall. Similarly here, the Guru has gone, he's been teaching, and the student says, but how is this Jivan Ishvara the same? So, the person has to have some mental maturity for this, it's not easy to understand this knowledge. That is why our Shastras, our Vedas are divided into two portions. Ved Purva and Vedanta. Vedanta means Vedanta, and Ved Purva is known as the Karma Kanda portion of the Vedas. So to understand what Vedanta is saying, your mind is prepared by Ved Purva. Ved Purva, Karma Kanda tells us how to do Karma Yoga and Upasana. Karma Yoga is turning our karmas into karma yoga by the right attitude towards karma, And upasana is doing meditation on Sagunishvara. There are meditations on Akash and Prakash, because this mind has to conceive of the inconceivable, the imperceptible Atma that the mind has to understand. So for that, this mind has to be prepared, It can't you may just sit and listen, but we're talking about the assimilation of this knowledge, This has to be assimilated. Vedanta is not some katha, that you go away for some time and then come and listen. One class you miss so much. It's difficult to catch up with what was said earlier. Though, I'm going on repeating so that, sometimes see it's for the benefit of people who have not attended. But still, there is a gap which comes in the understanding. So this student has not attended all the classes of Tattva Bodha, and he's not able to understand. For him, when he hears Tattvam Asi, This is like some ridiculous joke. You're saying Jiva is same as Ishvara? Like that is blasphemy, it is sacrilege when you equate Jiva. It is, the fanatics, they will thrash you if you talk like this in front of them, that you are same as Ishvara. You've had it if you talk like this in front of people, So here the student says, Nanu. But how can I accept this Vedantic teaching when Sahankarasya Kinchigyasya Jivasya, when this Jiva is Sahankarasya, he is identified with the Ahankara. You talk to anybody here, the moment I am so and so, this is my qualification. What is this? This is all identification, Ahankara. Even from the religious word, I am a Brahmana, I am a Kshatriya, this is my Gotra. These are all finite identities because of identification with Ahankara. It is not easy to give up this identification. Deep down, it is going to come. Just ask somebody, just talk to somebody. There it is. Then he is Kinchigyasya. He has little knowledge. Though most of the people think they know it all, but actually we know precious little, As a Jiva, we know precious little. We can maximum know something about one field, little bit in this whole world. Okay, I put my head into this field so that I could earn money through this field. If I know botany, I don't know zoology. If I know zoology, I don't know chemistry. If I know chemistry, I don't know physics. If I know physics, I don't know mathematics. I know precious little. But Ishvara, he is Nirahankarasya Sarvagyasya Ishvarasya. And Ishvara in Vedanta doesn't mean Shiva and Vishnu. That Ishvara is all-inclusive Bhagwan. Vedanta not only teaches us not to fight with others, but even amongst ourselves we have to stop fighting. No, my God is Shiva and yours is Vishnu, and I put the horizontal chandan and you put the vertical chandan, and they're fighting, they're fighting. They take pride in that, I am the Shiva Bhakta and you are a Vishnu Bhakta. And the Vishnu Bhakta says, you are Shiva Bhakta, like that they're fighting. But that is not Vedanta. That you're still at the religious lower level of religion, Vedanta is spirituality. So this is all inclusive. Ishvara is all inclusive Bhagwan. This meaning only first has to be understood. So Ishvara is Sarvagyasya, he is omniscient, he knows everything. If he is the creator, sustainer and destroyer of this entire world, he has to know the minutest detail of what he has created, how he is going to sustain it. If a person is a rocket scientist, then he knows how to create that, how to sustain it. And Ishvara is sustaining, he created this whole world. He's sustaining that little ant in a blade of grass and stars and moon, this is Ishvara's. Even we don't know how to spell omniscience also. And Bhagwan is omniscient, he knows it all. So this Ishvara, and he knows everything, he has no ahankara. Then how come your Mahavakya is saying Tattvamasi? So how come this Abheda Buddhi Syat Ubhayoho Viruddha Dharma, these two who have such diagonally opposite attributes, how am I supposed to understand that these two are the same? They are endowed. So it's obvious that this person is still looking at the superficial attributes and he's comparing the two. Sahankarasya, Nirahankarasya, Kinchigyasya, Sarvagyasya. So the Guru has not even been talking about this. He's not talking about the reflected medium and the reflected consciousness. He's talking about the original consciousness. The Aikyam is only over there. So obviously there was the communication was not correct. It was not fruitful, and the student had not understood. So how the Gurus are, they're so patient, and so he patiently starts explaining the Mahavakya Tattvamasi. Now a Mahavakya is a great equation. It is a Mahavakya. And an equation is warranted only when there is a seeming contradiction between on the either side of the equation. If it is obvious, if the difference is obvious, like 8 is equal to 9, then equation is not required. And if there is no difference on either side, 8 is equal to 8, there is no need for an equation. But if like 5 plus 3 is equal to 9 minus 1, if you write, suddenly the person is going to think, oh, what was that, Einstein's equation of relativity, E is equal to mc square. The non-difference in that has to be understood. It's not a joke to understand that, Similarly, Tattvamasi is even higher than Einstein's equation, So to understand that Jiva and Ishvara are same, this is an equation which shows that there is the non-difference has to be understood. There is a seeming difference, but the non-difference is to be understood. So the Guru is going to explain that, and we will read. Iti chena sthula sukshma sharira abhimani tvam pad vachyartha upadhi vinirmuktam samadhi dasha sampannam shuddha chaitanyam tvam pad lakshyartha. So the Mahavakya is got 3 words, Tat, Tvam, Asi. In Sanskrit, the words are known as Pada. It is Tat Pada, Tvam Pada, Asi Pada. So first he takes up Tvam Pada, you. This is the biggest problem, you. So in this Tvam Pada, he is using 2 words here, Vachyartha and Lakshyartha, about this Tvam Pada. Vachyartha is the immediate meaning we get into in our head when we talk about something, The first meaning which comes in our head, the superficial meaning, generally which a common man knows, is Vachyartha. Vachya is spoken stuff, superficial stuff. Lakshyartha, Lakshya is pointer, it's pointing at something deeper, it's an implied meaning. Lakshyartha is an implied meaning. Now there was one husband, his wife was very fond of white horses, So he was standing at the window, the house was against a beach, and he says, hey, come, see, there is a white horse coming, So she came running to see, and she can't see any white horse, So there was this man, a drunkard swaying and coming, and I believe there is some whiskey called White Horse, So he had that white horse and he is swaying and coming. So the husband is trying to imply that, and the Vachyartha is the white horse and the Lakshyartha is this drunkard who has drunk the white horse, So that is the difference between Vachyartha and Lakshyartha. So here he is saying, the person who is identified with Sthul Sukshma Sharira, he is Abhimani, is identified with, this is me, Tvam Pada, you, who are you? This is me. What does a common man know? Do they even know that their consciousness is God? Or there is something as reflected consciousness and original consciousness? No, nothing, This is me and that is God. There is where? There. That is God. Every time you think of God, you look up, oh God, And who are you? This is me. This individual is me. That is all they know. So what are they talking about? They're talking about their own Vachyartha and Ishvara's Vachyartha, So they're talking about. But Upadhi Vinir Muktam. So here, because you identified what the meaning of Tvam Pada is, a Vachyartha. Upadhi is this are 3 shariras, Upadhi is a limiting adjunct which limits this limitless consciousness, Atma, as only this much, and I take myself to be this, that is an Upadhi. Upadhi Vinir Muktam, when you become Mukta from this Upadhi, and we can't become physically Mukta from this Upadhi, that will happen at the time of death, and if you've not got Moksha, then you'll get another Upadhi, and depend on God know what upadhi you're going to get, you know. So this mukti of upadhi is only cognitive. It's in my understanding by disidentification that I am not this, I am the Atma. That's how we'll become mukta, vinirmukta. So when I'm vinirmukta, samadhi dasha sampannam. Samadhi in this context means knowledge, jnanam, you know, this enlightenment. That is this, and dasha is the state. Sampannam means endowed with. When my mind is endowed with this knowledge and I am enlightened and I am muktaha from this upadhi, that you, Shuddha Chaitanyam, the pure consciousness, is the Tvam Pada Lakshyartha. So we have Vachyartha as this individual, and the Atma, when I'm free, when I'm disidentified with this, is the Lakshyartha. Then, Evam Sarvagyatwadi Vishishtaha Vishishta Ishvaraha Tad Pad Vachyartaha Upadhi Shunyam Shuddha Chaitanyam Tad Pad Lakshyartaha. Yeah. Now in the same way, Evam, in the same way, Sarvagyatwadi Vishishtaha. Vishishtaha means the one who has special qualifications. We say Vishishta, specialist, you know, he's a Vishishta. So Ishvara, who is Sarvagyatva Adi. Sarvagyat means omniscient. Adi means he is also omnipresent, omnipotent. There's an Adi, there's an extra, etc. there. So, Ishvaraha, who is Sarvagyatva Adi Vishishtaha, that which with the attributes which a common man understands as God, that is Tatpat Vachyartaha. That Ishvara with attributes, that he is this Ishvara who is the creator, sustainer, destroyer of this world, who is Karma Adhyaksha, who is Karma Fal Data. That Ishvara is Vachyartaha of Tatpat. We are looking into Tatpat. Upadhi Shunyam Shuddha Chaitanyam Tatpat Lakshyartaha. When he is free from, you see Ishvara free from this upadhi. No, without the upadhi, without all these attributes of Sarvagyatva Adi. That Shuddha Chaitanyam is Tatpad Lakshyartaha. So, Shuddha Chaitanyam, the pure consciousness which is Satyam, Jnanam, Anantam, Brahma. Pure consciousness is Satyam, Jnanam, Anantam, Brahma. Pure consciousness which is Akashvat and Prakashvat. We've seen that, you know, this Akashvat, Prakashvat, it is the invisible, all-pervading consciousness. The pure consciousness in which space, time and objects are present. You know, the space, time and objects are the dividing factors here. If you're sitting there and I'm sitting here, there is a spatial division between us. The space divides us, you know. Then when it comes to time, time is, you know, with reference to past, present and future, what happened before, what is happening now. It's a dividing factor. Space and time, they come together. And the objects of this world, this is a table, not a chair. This is a chair, not a table. Each object is unique by itself, you know. But we have studied that space is the first Mahabhuta, which is the manifestation of Brahman. And time and space cannot be separated. If you think of any object in the world, just think, what will come? First, space and time is going to come. That is the miracle of creation here by Bhagwan. We can't even, you know, even to understand what is it saying, how is time, how is space, but God has created this. Just get a picture of any thought in your mind, think of anything, there will be a space and there will be time, you know, this space and time comes along with every object, you know. So here, now in this Mahavakya, Tattvamasi, the difference between both Jeev and Ishvara is Vachyartha. This has to be understood as superficial. This is not the reality, And the non-difference has to be understood as the Lakshyartha, that is the non-difference. If a person understands this, then he is liberated. He is, free from the bondage of the samsara. He is liberated from the sense of all limitation. This small understanding, it's not small actually, for millions of years one can sit and listen to this and not understand this, So this Aikyam has to be understood. This is what Tat Tvam Asi. Asi is saying that Tat and Tvam are same. Now we will read. Evam cha Jiveshwarayoho Chaitanya Rupena Abhede Badhaka Abhavaha. Evam cha, in this manner, Jeev Ishwar Yoho. We had I told you earlier that in Sanskrit there is singular, dual and plural. In English there's singular and plural, but in Sanskrit we have dual also. Whenever two things are being spoken about, they'll use the word yoho, that is dual, So here, evam cha, Jeev Ishwar yoho, abhede, bheda is difference, abheda is non-difference. Non-difference means advait jnanam, there is non-duality. Chaitanya rupena, from the point of view of Chaitanyam, from the point of view of original consciousness, this understanding between Jeev and Ishvara that both are original consciousness, Badhaka Abhavaha. Badhaka is an obstruction. Abhavaha is negated. It's not there. Abhavaha, So there is no obstruction in my understanding that Jeev and Ishvara are same when there is no obstruction here when we see them from the point of view of Chaitanya Rupena, right? Just like, the famous example of a rope snake in the Shastras, it is the most famous example. So if I am going somewhere and the light is dim and I see a rope lying there, there are bright chances that I'll take that as a snake and I'll get scared, If there is total darkness, I will not see that rope. If there's bright light, I will see the rope as a rope. But when there is dim light, and dim light is compared with ignorance, bright light means enlightenment. Total darkness, total ignorance. When there is this partial ignorance in a person, that is when he is going to try and even find out. Total ignorance, they won't even step here, and if you're enlightened, then it's very good, So here, when I see the rope as a snake, then in my understanding, there is a badhaka to realize the reality of the rope as a rope. There is an obstruction in my understanding the reality of the rope. So that is a badhaka, And if I can see, I light the torch and I see, oh, this is only a rope, this is not a snake. Then that snake is badhita. It's been negated, So a badhika is an obstruction in my understanding the correct nature of something, and once that is badhita, then the reality can be known. So sometimes, the things which are badhita, I will still continue to perceive by my senses, like the sunrise and the sunset. Perceptually, I see the sun rising and the sun setting, but in my understanding, it is badhita. There is a conclusion that the sun doesn't rise and set, because I know this is an illusion created because of the movement of earth around its axis. So in my mind, it is badhita, So I have to similarly here, this jiva, I have to understand in my understanding, as long as I take myself to be this limited individual with limited knowledge, with limited power, with limited skill, who is here for a limited span of time, there is a badhika in my understanding the reality of myself as Brahman. Brahman is the seer and not the seen. What I see cannot be me, isn't it? I see this world, then I'm not this world. Whatever I see, that cannot be me. I am the observer, not the observed. I see my body, so I cannot be this body. I see my mind. How can I be that mind? I'm seeing that mind. I am the observer of the mind. I am the seer of the mind. I'm not the seen. I am the seer. And the seer, which is Brahman, is what I have to understand, you know. So in Vedanta, there are two stages. One is dasoham, other is soham. So the whole thing starts with we taking ourselves as Bhagwan's dasa. You know, God is my master and I am his dasa. This is where religion begins. At least for religious people, they believe in this, you know. Then comes in spirituality. For most of the religion starts with dasoham and finishes with dasoham. They know nothing about soham. It is only the unique teaching of Vedanta which talks about soham. And if you don't understand soham, you will not get moksha here. So all the other religions, their moksha is what? You go to some paradise after death, you know, that is their moksha. What do we know you went, that person died and went away. He's not going to come back and tell us that he's got moksha or what he's experiencing there. Vedanta is saying you experience moksha right here, right now by the correct knowledge, you know. So I have to realize this soham. Only when I realize soham will I get moksha. You know, there is a shloka which is very commonly chanted in all the pujas. It says, Deho devalaya prokto jivo deva sanatanaha tyajet agyana nirmalyam soham bhavena pujayet. You know, you go to Tirupati and Badrinath and Kedarnath and there Panditji is going to make you, if you get the puja done, he is going to be chanting Deho devalaya prokto jivo deva sanatana. And tata 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 we will chant if we know, but we do not understand because we don't understand our own Sanskrit. We take pride in saying, oh, I know French and I know German and all this, and they are trying to study Sanskrit. You hear in the news that country's got a department of Indology and that country's got this, and they are busy studying because they've realized the value, but here this diya tale andhera. We are so busy aping the West, you know, like fools. So we go there and we don't know. And what is this saying, the mantra? Deho devalaya prokto. This is the devalaya, this is the temple. And we go all the way on a pilgrimage and there we chant Deho devalaya prokto. You know, don't know anything what we are saying. Jivo deva sanatanaha. In this, the jiva is the sanatana deva. The reflected consciousness is the eternal. It's a reflection of original consciousness. I am carrying the temple with me, with God inside me, and I go there and I chant and I know nothing as to what I'm chanting. Tyajet agyana nirmalyam. Tyajet is giving up. Nirmalyam is the impurity of agyanam. Giving up the impurity of agyanam. Soham bhavena pujayet. I pray to you, God, as Soham. This is the Advaita Bhakti. This is the highest Bhakti. This is where we have to reach to get moksha. This is the final prayer of gratitude to God. Thank you so much, God. It is you who helped me to go from Dasoham to Soham. Without God's help, this is not happening because God only reveals himself. And God wants us to know this. That is why he's given us the Shastras, you know. Otherwise, he'll keep it a secret. Then we'll all be spinning around. But he wants us to know this is the highest bhakti. So once I know Soham, I'm liberated, I have got what I wanted to get in this life, and for that I pray to God. It's all the ashrams and all have a mandir, if they're all praying, but doesn't mean I'm going to stop praying. But these Dvaitins, so they have a lot of problem with Advaitins, they think these Advaitins are, what do they think? There's one Advaitin, right, I've read about it, that these Advaitins, you should take them and drown them in the ocean because they think that they are God. How can you ever equate yourself to God? This is what these Advaitins are talking. Similarly, there was a king, he was very fond of listening to all these different philosophies, like Dvait and Advait, because he hadn't understood anything, but he wanted to know the perspective. So once he was going for an adventure trip, and he took this Dvaitin and Advaitin along with him, and suddenly when they were in the forest, they encountered a wild elephant, and it was the Advaitin who ran first to save him, saying, elephant, elephant, and he ran first, Then at night, when they camped, so this Dvaitin, he's having a good laugh, he's telling the king, did you see that Advaitin? He's talking about, oh, everything's Advaita, everything's Brahman. He was the first one to run away from that elephant. So the king's eyes opened and he says, yeah, call this Advaitin here, So he says, you say that everything is Brahman and you are the first one to run away. So he says, I didn't run away. I cannot run away because I'm all pervading Brahman, This is Mithya, which ran. That elephant's body is Mithya and my running is Mithya. So that one's body and my body is Vachyartha, and Brahman of that and Brahman in me is Lakshyartha. So I didn't run. King is blank, he is not able to understand what this film is. It's not easy to understand that you are running and you're saying I didn't run, so that to understand is Vedanta, that is Vedanta, So we'll read one more sentence. Evam cha Vedant Vakyaihi Sadguru Updeshena cha Sarveshvapi Bhuteshu Yesham Brahma Buddhi Utpanna Te Jivan Mukta Ityartha. Evam cha, in this manner, Vedanta Vakyehi, by the statements of Vedanta, which are the only pramanas to get this knowledge, Sadguru Updeshena, which has to be taught by Sadguru. You cannot do self-study here. You will not understand anything firstly, and there are bright chances of misunderstanding if it is self-taught. Because there's a lot of stuff going on here. They are confusing the people. In fact, they're getting them into trouble by misinterpretation here. So we have a lot of gurus in our life, from birth. Our parents were our first gurus. Then there are gurus in our school, our college, people who taught us sports and music. They all are gurus. But the guru who teaches us the truth of life is called Sat Guru. And by the Sandhi rules in Sanskrit, Sat Guru becomes Sadguru. So by the Upadesha of Sadguru, and a Sadguru is that who himself was a disciple of his Sadguru, his or her Sadguru. This is a sampradaya, there is a method in which one gets this knowledge and how one gives this knowledge. A Sadguru has to be Brahmanishta Shrotriya. Brahmanishtas first, one has to understand that I am Brahman, and Shrotriya is able to communicate this knowledge. Because this communication is not everybody's cup of tea, There are so many Brahmanishta people sitting around in this country. You can go there, they'll bless you. They from a distance they will bless you. But to give this Upadesha, to teach, bang your head and teach, is not everybody's cup of tea. Everybody is not interested in this, But So when the Sadguru gives the Upadesha, that is what one has to understand. Not go haywire by trying to read yourself, or even go to self-taught gurus, That also you need wisdom, and maybe it's your karma which takes you to wrong places, So Sadguru is going to explain the Vedant Vakya, and then with that understanding of Vedant Vakya, Brahma Buddhi Utpannaha in Sarveshu Bhuteshu, when the person can realize, when this realization dawns in his mind that in all the people, Sarveshu Bhuteshu, there is only Atma in everyone. Everyone is the manifestation of Brahman. This realization has come when the Vedanta Vakya is taught by the Guru. Then a person, Brahma Buddhi Utpanna, this arises in the mind that I am Brahman and so is everybody else here. It's not just that my Atma is Brahman, everyone's Atma is Brahman, everybody is a manifestation of Brahman here. So this has to arise by this kind of knowledge. Bhagavad Gita says, Vidya Vinaya Sampanne Brahmane Gavi Hastini Shunicha Shwapakecha Panditaha Samadarshinaha. Vidya Vinaya Sampanne, a Panditaha who is Sampanna with this Vidya, and he has Vinaya. This Vidya has to bring Vinaya. Vinaya is humility, How can you have this? Because then you haven't understood, because then you are a Jiva. So Vidya Vinaya Sampanne, such a Panditaha, when he realizes the truth, Samadarshinaha, he sees everything by this correct perception. Samadarshina, whether he sees a Brahmana or he sees a Gavi, Gavi is a cow, Hastini is an elephant, Shuchisha, Shuchi is a dog, Shwapakecha, that is a dog eater, In the Shastras, when they want to point out to the worst kind of human being, they'll say this, that dog eater, I mean, how horrible karmas that he actually eats a dog, In them also, a Brahmana, a Panditaha, will see that he's Samadarshana, his darshan, his perspective is same for everyone. He knows that he is the manifestation of Brahman. He's got a body because of his karmas. His thinking is different because of whatever ignorance and his karmas. But he's a manifestation of God. So his response to this world and to all the people in the world is compassion. He understands, that whatever they're saying, they overlook everything. They don't react. They respond to the world with compassion. Such a person is a blessing for himself and he's a blessing for the world. Such a person is known as Jivan Muktaha Ityarthaha. So such a person is a Jivan Mukta who has Samadarshinaha. He sees everything here as one. He's not, look what is happening in the world, how people are fighting, where is this world going, It's just if they have this darshana, everything would be, there is a song in English, Imagine, you've heard it, John Lennon, Imagine this world, it's such a beautiful song. Imagine all the people living in this world, if there was peace in this world, you get this knowledge, this world will change. So this is about the Jivan Muktaha, and with this topic we finish the fourth topic of Tattva Bodha. The last topic of Tattva Bodha is going to be about this Jivan Mukta, which we will see after the next class. Om Purnamadaha Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti 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 Hari Om.